Jayarata Madhava Jaya Kunjabi Hari Jayarata Madhava Jaya Kunjabi Hari Jaya Gopijan Vallabha Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Gopijan Vallabha Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Girivardhari Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana Jamunatira Jamunatira Vanachari Jaya Kunjabi Hari Jayarata Madhava Jaya Kunjabi Hari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Girivardhari Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Jamunatira Vanachari Natira Vanachari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva. Gurudeva, 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 Jaya Gurudeva. Haribo, 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 Nitai Kora Haribo. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Astoters that His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Prem Si Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopinath Shamakun Radhakun Giri Govardhana ki jai. Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Mayapur Navadvip Dham ki jai. Ganga Maya ki jai. Jamuna Maya ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki jai. Tulsi Devi Maharani ki jai. Samaveta Bhaktivinoda ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Narayana Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasa Tato Jayamudirayat Nasta Praisu Bhadresu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamashloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtaki Nigama Kalpataro Galitam Phalam Sukhumakadam Rita Drava Samyutam Pipata Bhagavatam Rasamalayam Moho Aho Rasika Bhuvi Bhuvakaha. O expert and thoughtful men, relish Srimad Bhagavatam, the mature fruit of the desire tree of Vedic literature. It incarnated from the lips of Srila Sukadeva Goswami. Therefore this fruit has become even more relishable for all, including liberated souls. Krishna Swadamapagate Dhammagyana Dibisaha Kalanastanji Shamesha Purana Kodundita. This Bhagavad Purana is as brilliant as the sun, and it has arisen just after the departure of Lord Sri Krishna to his own abode, accompanied by religion and knowledge, etc. Persons who have lost their vision due to the dense darkness of ignorance of this age of Kali shall get light from this Purana. So today we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 25, Text 33. Yes. Jarayatya suya kośaṁ. Oh, sorry, Om Namo Bhagavate, right? Is Om Namo Bhagavate next? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Jarayatyasya kośaṁ nigīrṇam analo yathā. Jarayatyasya kośaṁ nigīrṇam analo yathā. Jarayatyasya kośaṁ nigīrṇam analo yathā. Someone like to chant? Ladies? Yatyasya kośaṁ nigīrṇam analo yathā. Anyone else? Okay. Word for word. Jarayati dissolves. Ashu, quickly. Ya, which. Kośaṁ, the subtle body. Nigīrṇam, things eaten. Analaḥ, fire. Yathā, as. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Bhakti, devotional service, dissolves the subtle body of the living entity without separate effort. Just as the fire in the stomach digests all that we eat. Please repeat. Bhakti, devotional service, dissolves the subtle body of the living entity without separate effort. Just as the fire in the stomach digests all that we eat. So beautiful and simple, right? Bhakti, purport. Bhakti is far higher, in a far higher position than Mukti, because a person's endeavor to get liberation from material encagement is automatically served in devotional service. The example is given here that the fire in the stomach can digest whatever we eat. If the digestive power is sufficient, then whatever we can eat will be digested by the fire in the stomach. Similarly, a devotee does not have to try separately to attain liberation. That very service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the process of his liberation. Because to engage oneself in the service of the Lord is to liberate oneself from material entanglement. Śrī Bilvamaṅgala Ṭhākura explained this position very nicely. He said, "If I have unflinching devotion unto the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, then Mukti, or liberation, serves me as my maidservant. Mukti, the maidservant, is always ready to do whatever I ask." For a devotee, liberation is no problem at all. Liberation takes place without separate endeavor. Bhakti, therefore, is far better than Mukti, or the impersonalist position. The impersonalist undergoes severe penances and austerities to attain Mukti, but the Bhakta, simply by engaging himself in the Bhakti process, especially in chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, immediately develops control over the tongue by engaging it in chanting and accepting the remnants of foodstuff offered to the Personality of Godhead. As soon as the tongue is controlled, naturally all the other senses are controlled automatically. Sense control is the perfection of the yoga principle, and one's liberation begins immediately as soon as he engages himself in the service of the Lord. It is confirmed by Kapila Deva that Bhakti, or devotional service, is jarayati, more glorious than siddhi, liberation. What a beautiful purport. Here we have Krishna consciousness encapsulated in a few words, and we can understand very clearly the importance of our chanting of Hare Krishna, as that is the main service. Although there's many other services, but they must be all done with the chanting of Hare Krishna, otherwise they become karma yoga. So Such a beautiful, beautiful Bhagavatam. We're so fortunate. So welcome, devotees. Thank you for coming to this class today and supporting me. And I'm asking the blessings of senior devotees, and that I may have confidence. I don't have much experience. As you know, this is maybe my 4th class in my years of devotional service. And so I'm not very experienced. So if I trip and stumble here and there, please be kind upon me and see me as your child, just trying to learn something. So here Prabhupada is explaining how Bhakti and Devahuti herself is telling us how Bhakti dissolves the subtle body. Subtle body referring to the mind. Mind is the reservoir of, well, mind can be best friend, right? But mind is very tricky, and mind can also be enemy. And he lives right within us, and his voice is always like this. So the only way really is to dissolve the subtle body by performing bhakti. This means pure devotional service. It doesn't mean just going through the externals of devotional service, which is one of the things that we as practitioners have to guard very much against, because it's a very easy thing to slip into routine. Routine is the most easy thing to slide into, and to forget actually what we're doing, why we're here, and what is this place, what is this movement for? Obviously it's for the whole world, but what is it for ourselves also? So we want to develop this loving devotion for Shyamasundar Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead. And to develop that bhakti, we have to learn to focus our mind, or to center our mind on Krishna, not on me or mine or my extensions, my family, my this, my that. By constantly thinking about Krishna, his qualities, his beauty, we will also imbibe those. Just by thinking about them, that we will also start to become more like that. So bhakti is a state of being. It's a state of love. And that state is assisted by the theistic conduct that we read about in Bhagavatam, the following of the scriptural rules and regulations, the praman, and perseverance in practice. Because we're, by default, everything in the world is against the principles of bhakti, so we're learning, and sometimes there's mistakes. But perseverance in practice, it means to go back and again and again and again, endeavor to overcome any insufficiencies that we may find in our conditioning. So bhakti equals devotional service, and devotional service is the highest state of spiritual bliss. And as love awakens towards Gopal, who is the reservoir of all pleasure, then we can taste that bliss. So the dissolving of the subtle body, the body is like it's almost like a garden, where there's in the soil of the garden. Not many of you are gardeners, but I'm a gardener, so I think a lot about this. Inside the soil in the garden are so many seeds. The seeds are all our previous activities and the karmas resulting from those, and they're just waiting for the appropriate season, the right time, the right... Is it loud enough, Maharaj? Am I speaking loud enough? Am I speaking loud enough?
Sorry, I don't understand your speech.
Oh, okay. It's good? Okay. Okay. Everybody else is okay? I'm speaking loud enough? Okay, good. So those seeds are sitting dormant within our hearts and waiting for the appropriate time, just as you'll see in the springtime, you know, when the rains have come and the earth starts to warm up. So many little flowers and weeds and everything are all popping up left, right, and center. So similarly, within our heart, there's so many dormant seeds of previous activities that we performed, good or bad, waiting to fructify. And our job is to learn to identify the different seedlings. And as a gardener, I can tell you that seedlings look very similar. And it takes time, and once they're more established, then they already got a hold on it. So a modern man, unfortunately, is very learned in technological stuff, you know, very good with digits and devices, machines. But unfortunately, and actually he's very overwhelmed and puffed up because all these devices and gadgets, they give some kind of material appearance of mystic power, right? You can just press a few buttons and you can do all kinds of amazing things in the other side of the world. And you can just jump on a plane and appear in another place. And so many things there are, which we can use in Krishna's service. But my point is that although modern man knows so much about these things, he doesn't even know the basic thing, which is the laws of karma. Not knowing the laws of karma, then so many activities are performed that create so much entanglement for the person and for us as inhabitants of planet Earth, because of group karma also. So the karmic seeds, they sit in the heart. They're like the vasanas, or desires in subtle form, and they are the real enemy. It's interesting, as a gardener, you can see, you know, when a weed comes up, weeds grow really well. They're designed to survive, and they produce very quickly many flowers. And in each flower are literally hundreds of seeds. And usually, quite often in weeds especially, the seeds are carried by the wind. So when the seed, and if you decide, oh, I'm going to pull the head off this weed, the flower off this weed, and you don't throw it right in the bin or something, those seeds will fructify even though you picked it off the plant. Or even if you pull the plant up by the root and throw it down somewhere, those seeds will still fructify and blow on the wind and go everywhere and grow somewhere. So we have to be very, very careful about seeds, which are actions. Our actions are our seeds. There's good actions, there's bad actions, and they all create these weeds. And the problem is that every single seed, being a weed, it will fructify, and it will produce many, many flowers. And in each one of those flowers will be many hundreds of seeds. And so it's like an infestation, basically. It can spread very, very fast. So that's why Lord Chaitanya wanted us so much to be careful about the weeds and pull them up very quickly. Vikama, I was thinking, is like an action weed. It's a real action weed seed, or it's very powerful anyway. But these, luckily for us, are burned by devotional service. But I think if we look a little deeper, it's not just devotional service, like, oh yeah, I'll do some devotional service. This is talking about pure, unalloyed devotional service, which is quite different. And so devotional service is a mindset and a lifestyle of intention. It's not so much about what we do as how we do it and how our mind is thinking of Krishna when we do it. And Srila Prabhupada designed this whole movement to facilitate this for us. It's wonderful. Such an amazing revolution in the world. And so we get a chance to serve Krishna. But if while we're serving Krishna, we're thinking of Bhakti Joe, Bhakti in flow, this is no longer devotional service, because our duty is to think of Krishna. So loving devotion, there's no superior well-being. It's exclusive state of supreme bliss. And its connection with our best well-wishing friend, Krishna, who is the seed. Krishna also describes himself as a seed, because the seed is the encapsulation of all potency. So Krishna is in everything and everywhere. And actually, I was going through the bookshelf and kind of tidying up the house, job of a woman cleaning, and I found this little pamphlet which I found very interesting, and it was talking about, it was called, no, actually I don't remember exactly, but it was very emphatic, and it was Prabhupada saying, just do it at any cost. And so I picked this little pamphlet up and read it. And I was thinking, as I'm talking about seeds, how Prabhupada also gave us the solution to our economic problem. It's a big thing for most devotees. Like, some of us are fortunate, we have a good karma, that we can live within the temple, or we do a service that is remunerated by the temple, and so therefore we don't have to work. But there's a lot of people who really want to serve Krishna, who are in such a position that they have to work to make money. But I think it's a little bit lack of study, maybe, or maybe lack of inclination. I'm not really sure what it is. I've been thinking about it for many years, because Prabhupada gave us the economic solution. He gave us the solution to everything. So the economic solution was also there in the teachings of Srila Prabhupada. And that's in the seed. Because the seed is Krishna. And the seed, being like Krishna, is ever expanding and abundant. So if you take one seed that you may not even notice that falls on the ground, one rice seed or one bean seed or one corn seed, whatever you like, that you might just sweep and throw out as trash because it fell on the floor, and you put it in the ground and you put water and you give it sunlight, you will get many, many seeds back, food grains, which you can either replant or you can eat. It's like the best investment you can imagine, because it's got hundreds of % returns. Like, one seed produces one plant that produces hundreds of edible seeds that you can also replant and have food. We don't really think about food because we live in LA and we have like such an infrastructure where food is automatically appearing in our, we just have to have some money to buy it, or you can go to the kitchen, fridge is full of all kinds of everything you could imagine to eat. But this is all very shaky and dependent on a whole infrastructure, world infrastructure, and also on the solidarity of the dollar. It's not infallible. Please don't think it's infallible. It's totally not fallible. It's totally fallible. And Prabhupada warned us. He predicted that in 50 years, about 50 years ago, that these cities would collapse, that the economy would collapse, and that we will be in, if we don't have our own independent system, that we will be in big trouble. So you can see that the seeds can be so bad if they're bad seeds, but good seeds can be the solution. And also the rural communities which Prabhupada envisioned for stabilizing this movement economically also provide the solution for our problem of aging, where the people go when they can no longer do full-time devotional service. They also provide the solution for what we do about the education of our young, because our young, if we send them out to the Kami school, we've seen what happens to the kids who go to the Kami school and how they get affected, because a child is just like a sponge. Whatever you give to that sponge, it will become. So that's very, very important. And it gives housing. We always have housing shortage. How many people want to come and live in Udawaka, but there's no apartments? Yeah, there's so many of people out there, maybe not sitting right here, but maybe you would like to live in Udawaka too, right? And just walk across the road to the temple and not have to get in a car and drive and traffic jams and rush hour and all those things. So all these, they provide so much of wonderful things. And when we look at Krishna's life, how did Krishna live? Krishna chose, Supreme Personality of Godhead. He chose to spend his childhood
in a village with the cows, playing in the forest, jumping in the rivers, running barefoot, having a great time and eating fantastic quality of natural produce that abundantly appears from the trees and the earth, with fantastic milk, the kind of milk that Prabhupada said develops fine brain substance. Not milk with antibiotic, not milk with growth hormone, not milk from cows that are tortured. Pure ahimsa milk from cows who are loved. So that's those are the benefits. Plus, you know, when we read Bhagavatam, we can see that it's the highest ecological proponent. You know, we worship the rivers, the mountains, the ocean. These are all forms of the Lord. How can we support or want to be part of? We don't really support, but at least mentally we don't support. But we might support financially, or we may be involved or unable to extricate ourselves from doing things that are damaging the environment, because we live in a city and cities are so complicated, because they're created by human mind. So many problems and so many faults are there. But if we live in the way that Krishna designed, then everything will be very easy and nice. We'll have first-class milk, first-class fruits and vegetables to offer with Krishna. We can, with our heart, offer them, not think, oh God, maybe there's GMO, oh my God, maybe it's like whatever it is on it, chemicals, or maybe it's irradiated. Who knows, what they did to it. So that's how Krishna's showing us that that's how we do it. And also, if we were to do that, we would also be able to supply, if we have a farm community, we would be able to supply our restaurants with first-class permaculture produced foods, which no restaurants are doing. They may have organic, but we know organic is kind of, it's not that great. And they've changed the laws about organic. It can be with quite a lot of chemicals, just not as much as the conventional stuff, but it still has chemicals. And as someone who did farming, I know that if something is grown organically, maybe the earth is quite likely fertilized with blood and bone or fish meal. They don't use cow dung. And even if they use cow dung, the cow dung is GMO corn that they fed to the cows. And it's full of E. coli and all kinds of problems. So we're really, when we want to fully live this philosophy, we actually need to live a more rural life, and with a sattvic lifestyle. So Krishna, we put Krishna, the beautiful Krishna, in a beautiful palace, but devotees can live in very simple and easy to keep pure dwelling places, where we will have the best sangha, a lot of kirtan, and a very happy life, and sheltered from the Kali Yuga, with room to be able to invite people who show some interest. Many people show interest, but we don't have any rooms. There's no room, it's my room, or whatever. We can't accommodate so many people. We need to be able to accommodate. Prabhupada said that people will come in their thousands as the robots take the jobs, my friends, which is what's happening now. People will come in their thousands because of unemployment. They will be desperate, like the people living under the bridges. Many of those are druggy, but some of them are genuinely homeless. And people will come in their hundreds. We need to prepare. Prabhupada told us what to do, and we can't really 100% say that we're followers of Prabhupada if we're not doing the other 50% that he wanted, or at least talking about it once in a while, if not doing it. It's so these days, the roundup if you know what Roundup is Monsanto's herbicide, pesticide, GMO thing. It's in everything. It's in the water, it's in our brains, it's in the semen. They're very worried that the human race will not be able to regenerate, to populate the planet, because men are going infertile. They're not generating their generating organs properly to keep the human race running. It's really serious. And Krishna married Mother Earth. You know, Varaharupa, he married Bhumi Dev. Bhumi Dev, this planet we live on, is the wife of Lord Krishna. We have to, we care about the oceans, we care about the rivers, we care about plastic. It's part of our culture. And in the Srimad Bhagavatam is full of descriptions of the beauty of Bhumandala. And because we understand that Bhumandala is very dear to Krishna, it's a planet that he chose to appear in 500 years ago, and then 5,000 years ago, and then again 500 years ago. We can't support Ugra Karma just for pay packets, you know. So the Bhakti is the re-spiritualization and sustainable ecological life that heals the world and burns the karmic reactions of the world. Karmic reactions leading to war. We stand on the bridge of war, which if there's a war, our whole infrastructure will be in trouble, which means the food supply chain, my dear friends. So we learn in Bhagavad Gita to see Krishna everywhere, right? Bhagavad Gita is beautiful. And once we understand that, Krishna says, once we understand this knowledge of 7th chapter, that Krishna is everywhere and in everything, then we will have knowledge. And so we live it and we spread it. So, okay, that was the heavy part. So I want to do some beautiful thing, because very soon we have, in a few days, we have the appearance of our most beautiful Srimati Radharani, who is first Krishna's expansion, non-different from Krishna. And she is so beautiful, loving, playful, full of every good quality. And she is the one who will tell Krishna that here's a very nice devotee. Please accept him into your service. And so really, because this whole chapter of this Bhagavatam is talking about devotional service. Devotional service is personified by Srimati Radharani, and we have her festival just in a few days. And I'm seeing now that it's 8:30. I don't want to go too much over. So although I had a few other things, maybe I should read this, do this. It's so beautiful. This is a beautiful verse from 10th canto. It's simple. It's a description of Krishna, who's described as wearing a peacock feather ornament upon his head, blue flowers on his ears, a yellow garment as brilliant as gold, with a Vaijayanti garland. Sri Krishna exhibited his transcendental form as the greatest of dancers as he entered the forest of Vrindavan, beautifying it with the marks of his footprints. He filled the holes of his flutes with the nectar of his lips, and the cowherd boys sung his glories. Perfection of human life, to sing the glories of Krishna and Radharani. Maybe I'll sing it. Should I sing it? I don't know. It's so beautiful. It might be a bit floppy. My voice is not really anywhere near good, but still. Bahapidam natavara vapu kanayo kanikaram bibradvasa kanakakapisham vajayantin shamala rudram veno darashudaya purayan gopavrinde rindarvanyam swapadaramanam Pravishat Gita Kiti, wearing a peacock feather ornament upon his head, blue flowers on his ears, and a yellow garment as brilliant as gold. Vaijayanti garland reaching to his feet. Lord Krishna exhibited his transcendental form as the greatest of dancers as he entered the forest of Vrindavan, beautifying it with the marks of his footprints. He filled the holes of his flute with the nectar of his lips, and the cowherd boys sang his glories. Jai. Hare Krishna, thank you for your kind attention. And does anyone have any points, questions, additions, subtractions? Yeah. I think we could probably have the mic on stand ready, like, you know, for the end of class, like every day there's some questions, we could have it more available.
So my question is about cultivating a personal relationship with the earth, because you said that like the earth is a manifestation of God. And there are some ways that we can relate to God in a very easy and personal way, like with the deity, because you can touch the deity, dress the deity, etc. It's like, for me, in my head, it's very accessible that way. How can I develop a more personal relationship with the earth as Krishna?
Well, you know, you can think about the magnificent things of the earth, or maybe you didn't get the chance to travel outside of LA and that's the problem. You know, or outside of maybe even, I don't know, you were in Oregon. Oregon is beautiful. But when you go to the Himalayas and see the majestic Himalaya, or any mountain, but Himalayas has something incredible. And when you see, you know, just when we see with the eye of wonder, I think we lose that. I think that's the problem of the contamination of Kali Yuga, is that we lose the eye of wonder. We just go, oh yeah, it's like that. But just look at the creation of a child, how it grows within the womb, how it comes out, how it starts to walk, how its intelligence develops. How does that happen? Is it magic? Is it magic? We're surrounded by magic. Just take one seed from a bean and stick it in the ground and watch the magic happen. Give it some water and it will grow and make flowers and many, many beans. You have so many beans, you won't know what to do. The wonder. So this is all these things, the space of the sky, which we see the sky, but that extends right out to the coverings of the universe. And then there's the coverings of the universe. Beyond that, we go towards the spiritual sky, and then you have Mahavishnu relaxing the causal ocean, with universes coming out of his pores of his hair. You know, it's so mind-blowing, it's so beautiful, and it's so real, and it's truth. It's not Disney. This is truth. And all that is encapsulated, condensed, and intensified within the deity form, or within the seed. So it's important to do both. For me anyway, I mean, we're all different, but for me, if I don't have nature in my life, I struggle. Because for me, I see Krishna a lot through the nature, because it's something you actually interact with. And then when I see the deity, then I see Krishna in his form, and I can imagine him in those beautiful places, behind the tree playing the flute, and you know, the sunlight coming down, and the gopis picking the flowers, and the river is beautiful. I mean, you can't even see a river here, for goodness sake, you know, like a real river. The beauty, or if you just meditate about what is water. Water is water giving life. Water can change its form. Water, if you put something burning hot in water, it's instantly cool. How is that possible? Water goes into the sky, becomes the clouds, gives us food, gives us beauty, gives us the things we build our houses from, the things that we eat, the things that we put on our body to clothe ourselves. Water. We just think about one element, one of the 5 elements, and we're like, wow! So in this way, I think is that sufficient?
My takeaway then is that to develop a more personal relationship with the earth, we have to work in it. I mean,
we have to coexist.
Yeah.
Human beings have forgotten coexistence. We are not so special. We are one species, and our job is to take care of the entire planet and all the other species. Our job is not to exploit. It's not to kill. It's not to drain the earth of her resources. It's to use them in Krishna's service. We have to teach that to the world, but to teach it to the world, we have to understand it ourselves first. Otherwise, we can't be an example. That's why I'm always saying we should get tiffins, and with the Mahaprasad going in a tiffin, not in a plastic bag. One time use the plastic bag, throw in the bin, and where does that go? It goes to the ocean. And then the fishes eat it, and microplastics, and then, then in the future, maybe men can't make children anymore as a result of the plastics. It's a big, big, big issue, and we don't talk about it. And I think it's directly part of Krishna conscious philosophy. When you read Bhagavatam, it's there on every page. It's the green light has to be on. You can just say it, it's okay.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you for the lecture. I really appreciate you putting emphasis on just, taking care of our, environment and our nature. And I like the question that Prabhu just gave to you right now. It was a good question on how to, because, there's the spiritual intelligence that was given to us by the Lord 5,000 years ago, and then how to apply that, with how we're having our relationship with this earth, with this body. So it's like, I feel like, could one way of having a relationship with the earth, Bhumi Devi, is how we take care of our body, because our body comes from the earth. So I feel like that is something that sometimes I feel like using the word neglected is a little harsh, but kind of just side-tabled for other endeavors that humanity has, had for so long. But, because there's some individuals, some well-known individuals that have made some podcasts, so many years ago on health and health education. And there are some nutritional deficiencies now in our bodies because...
Huge. It's not some, it's huge.
It's huge. It's huge. And especially because our soils have been depleted of nutrients,
Not only depleted, poisoned.
Poisoned, right. So do you think it could start having to as a way to dovetail, I don't know if that's the right word, I'm trying not to be fancy with words, but to dovetail our, our efforts in Krishna consciousness by giving our bodies the proper nutrition and nutrients it needs, and the materials, raw materials it needs to be able to execute our Krishna consciousness in a way that's most optimal for our growth. Because if it's like a vehicle, if we don't do a tune-up, we're not going to get from point A to point B. Or we could get from point A to point B, but then we can't get from point B to point C because we haven't done the right tune-up on our vehicle.
Exactly, because nutrition is essential. Without the proper nutrition, we don't function properly. If the brain doesn't function properly, how do we have the intelligence? That's why the milk, the keeping of cows, protecting cows, having our own milk, is essential, because Prabhupada said that the milk is essential for developing the very fine the cells that can understand very high and very philosophical spiritual matter, that we cannot understand it without that magic, the love of Mother Cow when she gives her milk to us. Not when we steal it, not when we force her, not when we, mistreat her, not like that, but the milk that is given in love, like how Mother Yasoda's breast would just leak milk when she would think of Krishna. So when the mother cow is protected and loved, she gives milk in abundance, and that milk is, they knew that, it's ambrosia. It's called ambrosia or amrita. It's nectar, and this is what gives us the capacity to understand the very high philosophical truth, Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is everywhere but at the same time hidden. He's hidden. For us to be able to see him, we have to do certain activities in our life to have the purity to access. It's like, no access, guys, sorry, you don't have the right, what's it called on the computer? No, that's blocking it. There's a firewall, there's a firewall, and you don't have the access because you don't have the right software. So we have to get the right software. For that we need pure milk. And it's not like you can just get it in a plastic bottle and the cow's fed on some grass imported from China. Okay, it's a himsa, but it's,
it's the right credentials? You say it's like we don't have the right credentials?
If we don't have the right credentials, we don't access. It's not that we don't access it at all, but we don't access the full unfathomable nature of devotional service. Like we all get something, right? Because we're like, we're in devotional service, we're practicing, we're getting stuff, but are we getting the full? Or are we blocking it by, not following 100% what Prabhupada said? It's my question to everyone from their meditation. As we move forward, this movement moving forward, 2024, what's our projected plan for the re-spiritualization of planet Earth and the protection of our elderly and the education of our children and our economic security, food security. Thank you very much, everyone. If there's no other really pressing points, then we'll call it a day. Thank you, Hare Krishna.